Yes, our speaker has arrived. So we'll start the meeting.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, President and guest, Mr. K. Jayakumar IAS, retired, and my dear friends. It's my great pleasure to welcome you all to this seminar, where we have one speaker. We have kept it as one speaker because we have a very prominent speaker today who had captured all our minds during the last KTM. At the seminar during KTM 2022, we had dwelled on the topic God's Own Country 2.0, where we were talking about how it is inevitable that we move forward from God's Own Country 1 to God's Own Country 2.0. What is the way forward and what are the impediments in this regard is what we will discuss today. In yesterday's seminar, two of our prominent tour operators opined that a fatigue has set into Kerala tourism and the experience seemed to be stereotyped. Though it may be partly true, Kerala holds great potential for providing new experiences. Apart from cuisine and culture, walking tours of the heritage places, temple festivals, tea, coffee, and spice plantation visits are areas where guests derive local experience. Now we are living in a very competitive world, a world where things are changing at a very fast pace. Much of what we considered relevant today is no longer relevant tomorrow. In this scenario, we have to introspect to keep pace with the times rather than set ourselves in the same mold. Are we aware of the changes taking place around us and adapting ourselves to the changes? This thinking is essential to keep ourselves relevant. Here, innovation comes to play and is the key for survival. Deprived of it, we may end up a loser. Examples are galore. In the smartphone market, where Nokia and BlackBerry gasped for survival in the face of Apple and Samsung. Similarly, Kodak was too late to realize the advent of digital technology. Innovation is essential to improve our competitive edge and thereby lead to growth. But change has to be inculcated in our mindset also. For Kerala, tourism is still considered by many as an activity by the wealthy for the wealthy. Though it is the greatest employment generator and among the highest revenue generator for the state. Many of the laws in vogue today are archaic, especially the land-related laws which curtail usable space and render a vast portion of prime land useless. Timely changes in the Land Conservation Act would be one such change we would like to see happen. Similarly, the Coastal Management Regulation Zone rules, though framed by the central government some years back and adopted by several coastal states, it is yet to find its final draft in Kerala. However, it is heartening to see the much-needed widening of highways happening from Trivandrum to Kasaragod, which would be a game changer for North Kerala tourism. Kerala has vast potential for tourism and is blessed with rich culture and natural beauty, which has to be tapped effectively. And it has to be done in partnership with the local commune and thus go forward to the next level. Today, we have with us a very eminent personality, a former Chief Secretary of Kerala government, Sri Jayakumar IAS, retired. He will be formally introduced by Nirmala Lilly, but I would like to welcome this great personality to our midst today. And I have great pleasure to welcome all of you who have joined us today for this function. This program is being broadcast in the virtual platform, YouTube, live, presently with this program. Thank you all for being here today, and I welcome you all once again. Thank you. May I call upon Nirmala to formally introduce our chief guest.
Thank you, sir. President Mr. Baby Matthew, CMD Somathiram Ayurveda Resorts, Chief Guest of the Day Mr. K. Jayakumar IAS, Chairman Seminar Committee and Past President of KTM Mr. Riyaz Ahmad, MD Abbas Group of Hotels, Past President Mr. E.M. Najib, participants of our second edition of Virtual Travel Mart from all over the world, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is my pleasure to introduce this great visionary, Mr. K. Jayakumar IAS, to you. Mr. Jayakumar, currently Director, Institute of Management in Government, IMG, Kerala, served as a founding Vice Chancellor of Tunjat Eഴുത്തച്ഛൻ Malayalam University from 2012 to 2017. Served as Chief Secretary, Government of Kerala till 31st October 2012. Retired from the service, 34 years of service in the Indian Administration Service. Poet, lyrics, translator, author, and painter. Authored 32 books in Malayalam and English, including 7 anthologies of poems in Malayalam and 2 books of poems in English. Translated Tagore, Khalil Gibran, Rumi, Omar Khayyam, and Kabir into Malayalam, and Gita Govindam and ONV's poems into English. Wrote over 400 songs in Malayalam, including songs in over 100 Malayalam films, and received many awards for his lyrics and poems. Directed a children's film, Wings of Color, Varna Chiragal, and scripted a few documentaries and English film and television series as well. A self-trained painter, held 15 solo shows in India and abroad, including Seoul, South Korea, Delhi, Mumbai, Hyderabad, Chennai, and Kochi. Proudly presenting you, Pride of Kerala, Mr. K. Jayakumar, IAS retired. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much for very kind words. And I hope I am audible. Am I?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
you are.
Very well.
Sorry for I was slightly late in joining because of some technical hitch. You know, technology always poses its own hitch with all its benefits, because we are not using Zoom for a while after the post-COVID thing. There was some hitch. Anyway, I'm happy that I did not make you wait in uncertainty for long. And I thank you for the kind words spoken about me. And all the panelists, the faces I see here, most of them are known to me for years together. When we were all younger by some 20 years at least, maybe 20, 30 years younger. When Kerala tourism was also very young at that time, we were full of dreams, and many of the dreams have been fructified. It's not that our dreams were just unrealized dreams. Most of it has been has practically evolved into reality. Now, today you want me to talk about, although I'm not working in the field of tourism anymore officially, you want to talk about what we can do in the emerging period to win back our place of primacy. You see, nothing in this industry or nothing in this life for that matter is stationary. What you think is stable becomes unstable tomorrow. Therefore, if we had occupied a very prime place a few years ago, we need not be at that point all the time, because there are competitors, changes are taking place. Therefore, Kerala cannot rest on its laurels, saying that Kerala is a wonderful place and therefore people would come naturally. That's a very wrong illusion. That's an illusion. Therefore, there is a necessity to reframe or reposition Kerala as a very esteemed destination, as a very dear destination. Now, when we want to make our destination a very endearing destination, or when we want to tell the world that if you don't come to this place, it will be a great loss in your life. If you have to position Kerala that way, what is it that we have to do? Now, when I just joined this meeting, I heard the chairman saying that there are hundreds of things which the government ought to do about changing laws, about your coastal regulation, your width of your roads, all kinds of things. He has a dream list, which I have been hearing for quite a long time. The tourism industry has been flagging these issues all the time, and naturally so. And government has not been inactive, I should say. The things are slowly changing. Things are slowly changing. At least our electronic highway, digital highway is very wide today. With our connectivity problems, most of the connectivity problems being taken care of. And the physical highways are improving, no doubt. But then there are always issues in government. We can never have a situation where all problems have been solved. It is a imaginary situation, where there are no other problems. Problems will always be there. Now the question is how to survive, how to achieve our goal, how to go forward in spite of all the administrative difficulties, the lack of speed, which ideally the industry would expect from public bodies and public institutions. And the lot of ideal concepts are there in our mind. I don't want to blame, that is natural. But then if we are trying to revive tourism or reposition Kerala as a very most relished destination, my first point of departure from the way of thinking that I normally associate with tourism related bodies is, I'm not saying that don't expect anything from government. We should continue to bargain with the government, try to get as much benefits and as much services, facilities from government, because there are things only government can do, government alone can do. Nobody else can substitute. Therefore, we have to continuously make ourselves heard, and government will continuously do part of it later. That is the way things are taking, that will take place in government. Government is, of course, always kind and benevolent towards tourism industry. Now, what is it that I'm trying to hint at? Why this broad, by drawing a very broad sort of background, not in defense of government, but in realistic appreciation of government's style of function. And the habit of expecting everything from the government in a stipulated time frame, that is actually stealing a wonderful opportunity. I would request, or I would suggest, the tourism industry represented here as KTM. I would request them that even as we continue to bargain with the government, give suggestions to the government, and even as we expect government to act fast, nothing prevents us, nothing prevents the industry in coming together and forming a very clear plan of action to reposition Kerala as a very premier destination. Now, the counter question to the industry is that every one of you may have your strategies worked out. Every hotelier may have a marketing strategy. Every tour operator may have a strategy. But the tourism industry of Kerala, do we have a marketing strategy or a strategy to promote Kerala, to position Kerala in the next 5 years? I think instead of writing memoranda to the government, even as you may do it, what is more important is to have a dream plan of action for Kerala, which will be pioneered by the tourism industry, represented by hundreds of very enterprising people in the tourism trade. That is what I am going to tell. I am not taking a caveat for the government saying that, okay, don't expect anything from them. Not that. Government, you continue to bargain with the government, get it. Now, when we try to say that we should have an action plan, the industry should have an action plan, all of it may not be practical, but it is important to have a plan of action. It is important to have a dreamscape, a dream idea. This is what we have to do to position Kerala. And when we say that, what is it that has changed? What are the new situations? As every one of us knows, that the post-COVID world economy, post-COVID Indian economy, the newspapers would say that we are growing at 5.6, 6.5, 8.5, all these rates of growth of GDP, all those things. I do not get excited by these figures. Microeconomists might, but at the micro level, we need not be carried away by these figures. If the economy grows at 8%, well and good for all of us. But what is important is to realize that the world is going through a crisis. Post-COVID, a lot of opportunities have gone, a lot of replacements are taking place. The labor market is undergoing transitions. A lot of displacements are taking place. New opportunities are arising. Old opportunities are going away. The profile of employment among youngsters is undergoing a sea change thanks to technology. Every day we read that such and such IT firm is retrenching 5,000 people. Amazon retrenching people, Google retrenching people. Retrenching people is one news, but then there is also the other news that we do not read. A lesser number of people are also taken in, but they are the people with new set of skills, with a new set of skills and new set of thinking, because that is what they want. They are at the cutting edge. Therefore, the entire labor market is changing in the West as well as in Europe and America. Now, what does it imply? The real income of the people, the spending population, the younger population is uncertain. There is a lot of uncertainty that the younger generation, the 30, 35 age group or less than 35 age group is facing today in the post-COVID world, controlled by the new invasion of the new economies and new technologies, which can do wonderful things. So that means the number of people, young people who would travel might not be as much as we think. At the same time, elderly people, because of longevity, the elder generation would like to travel. Today, what we are witnessing in India is, as we say that because we were closeted, lockdown for 2 years, we are going to travel with adventures. But that is a very passing phase. We cannot trust that this is the way tourism or travel profile is going to be. Now, there are a lot of uncertainties to sum up in the profile of the tourists who are going to come. But then economy will recover, European economy will recover, American economy is not in bad shape. People are traveling. And because as a reaction to the COVID-induced limitations, people want to travel and the trend will continue. What another important milestone that we have to take into account is the way technology has impacted, as all of you know, the way you do business, of course, and also the way we can promote a destination. That is one thing which I would like to dwell upon a little bit. Earlier, when we used to carry our newsletters and your brochures and pamphlets, tourism literature, we used to bring out very colorfully produced pamphlets with wonderful photos, photoshopped photos, and with wonderful literature accompanying it, all with wonderful epithets and adjectives, word and landscape. There are wonderful words, typical words. Now, all these words have become meaningless because the real technologically empowered potential visitor, he can access your backyard or the property that you are trying to sell or the packages you are trying to offer. He can validate all of them with far more accuracy than all your promotional literature would say. And promotional literature, advertisement, all these things are now discounted to a great extent. Earlier also people used to disbelieve. They do not trust all the advertisement. But then the factor of discount is very high today because Google can take you to any place. And therefore you cannot make false claims. Basically what I am saying is, today with the help of technology, all the marketing claims, false claims do not have any place. What does it imply? We cannot sell falsehoods. We can sell only the truth. Therefore, the truth or reality that we are going to offer the tourist has to have all the advantages, all the beauty, all the endowments that you are claiming. It should actually be there. It should be more than what you claim. The visitor should experience something more than what he had visualized. Therefore, the art of hyperbole or exaggeration Exaggerated claims in marketing has no more value because technology will take you to any place, and they can validate like we do in hotel booking. In hotel booking, what we do, we go to booking.com and book a hotel which we never stayed earlier. But we also look at the reviews. We go into the rooms. Now we can even go for augmented reality, by which you can even a walkthrough. All these things, 360 photography, all these things are possible. You can claim, provided the claims are real. Now the earlier investment or hope in advertising and promoting an area well will result in tourist inflow is no longer true. You can advertise what exactly is available. So the crux of the matter is not to pretend that you have some great destination here, but the crux of the matter is that the destination should be as great as we want it to be or as we claim it to be. We cannot have a filter of advertisement terminology or advertisement copywriting. No, advertisement photoshopped photographs, they don't have any more hold on the tourist, because the technologically empowered tourist will validate and discount all our false claims, which actually bring us to one great point, that is the visitor's experience, or the visitor should be told only what we have. And if the visitor has to be encouraged to visit our place by telling the truth should be attractive enough. I'm being very logical. If we cannot no longer tell untruths and attract somebody, we have to tell the truth. We have to tell the truth. And if you have to tell the truth and attract somebody, the truth has to be attractive enough. Now that is where I come back to the original point, where you have been writing memorandum saying that this act may be amended, this may be done. The government has its own pace. It is not going to change just for tourism's sake. We will change. But then that is where I said, let us have a plan of action. In spite of all this, how do we make tourism Kerala as an attractive tourism destination? Now, what I have said so far is the profile, the changing profile and changing expectation of the potential visitor. Now, now I'm talking about how do we position this? There are a lot of negatives, although it is not a good way of highlighting the negatives. But in order to travel to our destination of truth and to the positive Kerala that we are trying to sell, I have to show my torch on the negative aspects of Kerala. I know that this is being recorded, but I still have to say that with a perception from the West, a potential tourist, maybe West or East, somebody sitting in Japan or in Australia or in UK or in France or Italy or US, how do they perceive about Kerala? Now, Kerala is being perceived through a filter. Firstly, we are not a nationality in the sense, we are not a nation. We are a sub-nation, isn't it? We are part of India. Within the large country that is India, Kerala is a state. We are a sub-unit. We are a sub-nationality. Now, Kerala doesn't have an independent identity or independent of India. We have an identity within the overall macro identity of India. We cannot say that in India, a lot of things might happen which are not very good, but Kerala is different. It doesn't cut much ice. For a foreigner, somebody looking from abroad, India is the first reality. India is the first or vision, you know, that is the first view, India. Within India, where do I go? The person decides within India, I go to Kerala. Now, how do they perceive India is not within our control. These are things on which you and I have no control. How the market or the Western world or the first world, if we may call it, the developed world, from where most of the tourists emanate, how they visualize India or view India, or how do they rate India? We really do not know whether there are any negatives or positives. But then the point is that the image of India is the first passage through which a potential tourist can enter Kerala. Now, then we come to the image of Kerala. Within the larger context of India, we say that India in Kerala in India is a wonderful place. Now, coming to this wonderful place, we have to take note of many things. For example, the few things that happened in Kerala in the past few days, like the boat tragedy, like the assault and killing of that innocent doctor in Kottarakara. Now, these are all emblematic or rather symptomatic. These are all symptomatic. All these events also have an impact in the overall image. These are all stray occurrences, we can say, but avoidable. Now, when avoidable things happen repeatedly, supposing avoidable things are happening in a particular country outside India, and we read it in the media, we know it in the media. What is the image that we form? Oh, what is it? What is wrong with that place? Why is it that law is not being enforced? Why is it that immediate action was not taken? We might be doing a lot of good work, and our reactions may be very proper. But I'm talking about the perception of these incidents, maybe unrelated incidents, maybe one of its kind. The boat tragedy doesn't take place every day, not at all. Only once in a very after a span of few years, this unfortunate tragedy took place. But the fact is that a tragedy takes place, an accident takes place. The roads in Kerala are very unsafe. Road accidents, we are one of the leading states. Now, rule of law enforcement is one primary concern of anybody who chooses to visit a destination. For example, earlier I wanted to go to Sri Lanka as a tourist, but no longer. Of course, the economy is in bad shape. I'm not sure whether the government is in control. I'm talking purely from my personal perception. I really do not know whether there is rule of law. I do not know whether when the policemen are going to revolt. So I have sort of ticked out Sri Lanka from my potential places of interest. Why? Because the perception of the country has taken a beating. What I'm saying is all these instances, which are very unfortunate and tragic instances, which happen in our country, it is no longer a secret. The whole world knows about it. The whole world knows about it, and they form opinions. Now, we cannot change what has happened. We cannot undo the tragedy that has happened. But what is important is the image that we should be emitting or transmitting is that here is a place where there is rule of law, where the law enforcement machinery is very quick and very effective. Here I'll come to this later. What I'm saying is the negative perceptions, not only because of boat tragedy, there could be any other reason why, because people should have a confidence in the law enforcement machinery in a particular destination. I will not go to a place where law enforcement is not dependable for me. Why should I spend my money and go to a place where law enforcement is not dependable? Secondly, my safety and security. Kerala is a relatively safer place, no doubt about it. But then we do not know what is the perception. We do not know what people think about Kerala. Is it safe? Some of the instances where even foreign tourists have been killed, all these things have taken its toll, no doubt about it. Now, the sense of safety and security. I'm going with my wife. I'm going with my elderly mother. I have to be very safe. Or I'm going with my teenage girl, my daughter. I should feel that this state is very safe. This destination is very safe. So I'm not putting it in a negative light, but I'm looking at it from the perspective of the potential visitor. He or she estimates or makes an assessment of the law enforcement climate or milieu of that particular destination. He or she wants to ensure that the place is very safe from all angles. Then they also want to be very sure about, if we put in their shoes also the same thing, how is the hygiene situation there? Or removal of your garbage removal, solid waste removal, sewage removal. Are they all right? Are they all right? So, of course, we are one of the better states where solid waste removal is fairly well done with the help of local bodies and all that. Local bodies are empowered, unlike many other states. These are all good for us. but then does it positively impact the perception from the other side? Now, accountability. Now, accountability is one thing I said. A hotel says that we have a wonderful garden here. You advertise. We have one of the best gardens among the hotels. So now he comes and finds out that there is only one rose plant, a wilted rose plant standing there. Now, your credibility is lost. Maybe a very simple thing. So accountability is something where if you promise few things, it should be there, and the tourist should be assured of the value for money, the return on investment on his time and energy. Accountability, not only for government, not only for tour operator, for everyone involved with the tourism industry, where the potential tourist is going to interface, everyone should have a sense of accountability, and its value is very high. Local ownership. Now, I went to a place, and this is not about tourism. I went to meet a gentleman in Palakkad long ago. My contacts claimed that he is a wonderful person. He is the demigod in the area. You please come and see him. I'm just digressing a little bit because just to get out of the tourism, that narrow gauge. So I went to see this guy. I didn't know the place. So I went to this village and asked somebody, a group of young fellows sitting on a culvert. So I said, do you know where is this place of such and such gentleman? And then you go straight and turn left. There is his house. So they gave me the direction. But from the body language of these youngsters and the expression on their faces, regardless of the fact that they gave me the right directions, but the body language and the expression and the tone of their reply conveyed to me that this gentleman is a persona non grata in this village. So locally, he is not owned, he is not respected. Now, local ownership of, so a tourist who comes to a particular location, if the local community doesn't want that action to take place there and looks down upon the tourism industry there, the visitor doesn't feel comfortable. So the local ownership and protection is very, very important. And lastly, the level at which we look upon the need for natural protection of nature and environmental sensitivity. I think Kerala is still a few notches below where the public opinion in the West has already arrived. To put it differently and in a simple language, I would say that the environmental concerns in the developed world are far greater than what prevails in Kerala today, because even today, people talk about development as the priority, and these environmental activists, they are all development, they are all sabotaging development. This idea is very prevalent and accepted as natural in a very large group in Kerala, even today. Whereas that kind of people who would prefer development over ecology or economics over ecology is very few. The percentage is coming down in the West, which means that this environmental sensitivity and awareness is very high today in the Western world, unlike a developing country like India. We only talk about conserving nature, but we are reckless in creating ruckus in nature. That, of course, is there. And therefore, this doesn't vibe well with a tourist from the Western world. That is what I'm trying to say. I'm not imposing my judgment on this. Our attitude of vandalism on nature for development does not vibe well with the visitor from a developed country, because the ethos of environmental awareness has gone quite high in these worlds. Of course, we can say that American politicians do not believe this. In fact, Trump would say that all this talk about climate change is hoax. He says it's a lobby. Anyway, we are not into that. Climate change is a fact, and people are concerned about the future of this planet and future of this climate and our well-being. Therefore, any kind of environmentally insensitive approach to tourism is not going to be productive, it is going to be counterproductive because the visitor does not fit into that ethos. So these are the areas where I think we have to be more concerned to overcome these limitations. Most of these limitations may not be in our hand, but definitely law enforcement, for example, may not be in our hand. But then, if the industry has a clear set of ideas, I'm sure law enforcement will be far better and to our liking. Now, a crucial point which I would like to say before I conclude is that we cannot wait for the entire administrative ethos of the state to change. No. What we should do, I have been advocating this. Tourism activity does not happen all over the state, not in every panchayat of the state. No. It is still localized. In Trivandrum district, for example, people go to Varkala, people go to Kovalam or to Vizhinjam or all these places. Then we know the place. We go to Ponmudi. So there must be around 20 to 30 locations in the state where tourists go in large number. Now, instead of correcting the whole state and wishing for a total transformation of the state machinery, it is far easier to localize, to concentrate on the areas, on the tourist spots where tourists flock in large numbers. Port Kochi, for example, large number of people do come. Cherai, people do come. Munnar, people do come. Tekadi, of course. And there are any number of, not more than 20 to 30 locations where tourists flock in large numbers every year. Now, if we can have a local formalized authority, a local tourism authority, where the local bodies, the hoteliers, hotel associations, everybody is involved, the local traders, you define the area, enforce our plan of action there, where if you have a price list, that price should be paka. If you say that you return it in 24 hours, it should be like that. And whatever we write there, and whatever we say, that here the water is safe for drinking. Here we are disposing our waste like this. Now, let us create an ideal world in these tourism destinations. Ideal world from these parameters. There should be accountability. It should be close to nature. There should be local ownership. The sense of hygiene and your waste disposal should be paka. And safety should be ensured, because every auto rickshaw man or a taxi fellow who takes somebody to 5 kilometers should say that this is our rate. Travel to 5 kilometers, drop you there. This is all that you have to give. No tourist should feel cheated. No tourist should say that I should have bargained, he should have given me, or he has cheated me. That kind of feeling should not be there. There should be transparency, accountability, and clarity about whatever services we offer and what is the price we expect. In return, we offer you safety. We offer you safe locations, safety, food safety, environmental safety, ecological safety, your all kinds of physical safety, everything we assure. I'm sure it is not difficult. The local trader who is going to be benefited with an enhanced flow of tourists is going to be with us. Only thing is, we have to have the government with us, the local bodies with us, the local traders with us, and should say that this is the plan of action, say for Munnar. Let us do this. Take government on board. Instead of blaming the government for everything, take government on board, saying that this is what we want in Munnar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. If we can do this, government has to do these things. Industry has to do these things. Panchayat has to do these things. And we have a roadmap. We have a blueprint about what exactly is to be done. I'm not asking for the impossible things there, but the art of possible. Whatever is possible within this. This is a short-term vision. And of course, you can have a long-term vision where as things improve, we should be able to articulate and make our vision expand. But in the short and medium term, in the next 5 years, in the next 2 to 5 years or 7 years, if we can address and rehabilitate some selected 20 or 30 tourist centers and project the advertisement such that we mean what we say. We mean what we say. And please come to Kerala, visit these places, you will be safe and we are accountable. We ensure your safety. We ensure this and such things. And if we can say that tourism industry should be more vocal in promoting these locations. it has far more credibility than a government advertisement. I should say the tourism industry's claim that this place is safe. This place means what it says. It has far more credentials or credibility than any other government-sponsored advertisement. You do not have to advertise a location, but you advertise the kind of services and the kind of quality of the services that we provide and the kind of ethical dimension that we are giving to tourists. I'm sure such a destination is well promoted. Somebody is sitting in Chicago or somebody is sitting in, say, Welsh or wherever, some place, or in Paris. He looks at it and says that here is a tourism industry who is promising me all these things. Why shouldn't I go? Government also is supporting it. All his concerns or her concerns about safety, everything is addressed. And I think this is a new way of thinking. This is a new way of thinking where I am kicking the ball back into your court. Don't say that I'm playing safe for the government. No, I am only saying what is possible. Instead of writing memoranda, why don't you write a plan of action for your 20 selected destinations and say that these are the 12 or 15 activities that we want to do. And you tell the government, we want the panchayat on board. We want the police on board. I'm sure government will be more than happy to create these authorities, local authorities, tourism authorities, say in Munnar, in Cherai, small authorities, where the Grama Panchayat is involved, Block Panchayat is involved. They feel proud about it. And you can say that by enhancing this tourism activity, your revenue is going to increase. Your employment is going to improve. And I think this third world belief that everything should be done by government has to be slightly changed. Now, in the earlier 80s, when we were all in tourism trade, 80s and early 90s, up I was there till 95, I think government had to do a lot of things because we were starting from beginning. We were starting from zero. Today, we are not starting from zero. Over the past 30 years, you have inherited a lot of experience. Do that experience, formulate a plan of action, tourism plan of action for Kerala, which will address 30 centers, tom it, make it, their industry should own it. Even rivals in industry should come together in this. You might be two adjoining hotels. We are trying to sort of outsell each other, but come together for this. There is no competition here, cooperation, collaboration. And I'm sure this will be a wonderful model for the rest of the country in tourism industry and the government and the local community and the local self-government coming on a common platform to make our destination wonderful, desirable, and most delectable destination that you can think about. These are all my few scattered thoughts, which I thought you can catch on. I would not have said this to a group of academics, but you are practitioners. Be practical. I'm sure you can do it. You have the reserve energy left because much has been done in the last 2 years, So there is a lot of accumulated energy in the tourism industry. Utilize it now and let us see that 23-24 is going to be the breakthrough year. And once we break through it, we are into the heights. So wish you all the very best. And if you want this kind of unsolicited advice in future also, it is always available. And of course, I also mean business. I also mean that this can be done. Whatever service you want in way of writing, conceptualizing, coming out with slogans, this kind of small cosmetic touches, I am always at your service because my familiarity with the tourism industry gave me a lot of opportunities and gave me a lot of confidence. Confidence in government, thinking that it gave me the idea that yes, with the government, with the leverage of government in your hand, you can do wonderful things. And at that time, we did wonderful things thanks to all of you. And we can still do the capacity to do wonderful things is still with you, the tourism trade. So with that exhortation, I would stop now. And thank you very much for patiently listening to this. Thank you very much.